So, couple things. You want to use elimination when it's in standard form. That's that ax plus by equals c. Let's have x and y on the left side. So you want to look for your x and y's on the left side, and you want to look that they're lined up. Okay. So if I look here, my x's are lined up, 7x, and here my y's are lined up. To do elimination, you want to create opposite terms, an opposite x or an opposite y. So like right off the bat, both of these x's are positive. So I need to make one of them negative. I'm just going to make the top one negative by multiplying by a -1 to each term. So I'm going to write it underneath. This becomes now -7x. Now -7y equals a -28. By doing that, I now have a positive 7x and a negative 7x. I have opposites. That's what we want. Because with it being opposite, we can add them to eliminate the x's. So now I can add the two equations together, and the x terms are going to cancel. So when you add everything else, 10y plus a -7y leaves you with 3y, and 22 plus a -28 leaves you with a -6. So now we're going to solve for y. Now we're back to a one step to solve for y. You just have to divide by 3. So y equals -2. Because there's two variables in your equation, you have to have both values. So you're just going to have to plug it back in. You can pick which one you want to plug it back into. You can plug it back into the first equation, or you can do it the second equation. It doesn't matter. Okay, I'm just going to go to the first equation. So the first equation has 7x plus 7y. So 7x plus 7y. I'm going to do 7 times the -2, because that's what my y is now, equals 28. So really, I really end up with 7x minus 14 equals 28. And now I'm solving for x. So I just have to add that 14 on both sides of the equal sign. I'm just going to come over to the side here. So that gives me 7x equals 42. 42, come on, there it goes. And then if you divide by 7, your x is 6. So your order pair, your solution, would be 6, -2. So if they're lined up, your x's and your y's, elimination is the easiest one, but I think the most miss was happening when we didn't see that they were lined up and they were opposites. So if you look at this number 2, this x is lined up with the y. I need to fix that. Okay, I need to change that. So what I'll do is I'll keep the second equation, and I'm gonna rewrite the top one to the bottom. So I'm gonna put this down here and line up my y. So when I do that, since this was minus 4y right here, I'm gonna line that up with the y. So it doesn't matter if the x or the y comes first, it's just they have to be lined up. So minus 4y here, I bring my plus 3x equals a -10. So now my y's and x are lined up, but I need them to be opposite. Both of these are negative, both of these are positive. So because to make it opposite, you multiply by -1. The easiest way to do that is just change your sign. Make this a plus, make that a negative, make that a plus. Just change the sign to everything. And when we do that, something happens here. The y's will cancel, and the x's are going to cancel. So that leaves us with 0 terms on the left side. So we have 0 is equal to a -3. And that is a false statement. And anytime we have a false statement, 0 can't equal to -3, it has to equal to 0. Then we just write no solution. There is a symbol for no solution. It is the empty set. So it's like a 0 with the line going through it. Okay. An empty set means there doesn't exist a number in the set that could work, that could be a solution. So there is that possibility. Now, 3 and 4 were the ones that were missed the most on the part 1. And that's when they're lined up, okay, but they don't have opposite numbers here. So like, yeah, the y's are lined up, but one has a coefficient of 2 and one has a coefficient of -5. We need them to be opposite to cancel them. So to me, I'd say I think the trick to this is always focus on the smallest variable. That's just 2y. And we have a -5. What they have in common, they have a common multiple of 10. So what we could do is multiply the top one by 5 to get a 10, and then multiply the bottom one by 2 to get 10. So when I do that, I'll just rewrite what you have to the side here. You're going to end up, sorry, let me take that off. You're going to end up with now 15x plus 10y equals a -52. When I do the same thing, we're multiplying everything by 2 to the second equation. 2 times 4, that gives me now 8x minus now a 10y equals a -8. Now my y's are opposite terms. So I can add them to eliminate them. So when I add, the y's cancel. And now I'm adding everything. 15x and 8x is going to leave me with 23 x's. Yes?
I think the top one would be 130.
Oh, I multiplied it by 5. By 2 instead of by 5. Yeah. Sorry. This top one is 130, -130. You're right. Thank you, Jonah. All right. Erase that. So 23x equals a -138. Then we're just gonna divide everything by 23.
Teachers, if you have any cans that were brought in this morning, if you can send
Anybody last minute cans?
to the main building, I'll be at the back door to collect those from them. So you can just let a couple of your students from your first period bring those over. And then I also need you to send me an email with your total.
Real quick. Okay, so on number 4, it's not in standard form. The easy way to make it back into standard form is move this 2y back to the other side. So I'm going to write it at the bottom here. Just line up your x, that's a positive x, minus 2y equals -3. Hey guys, fix that one.
I said John.
Number 4 was in standard form.
Okay, this is the last call for any cans that are still in your room. So if you have any issues getting them here with students, if you want to give me a call, I will come get them myself. Otherwise, if you'll send some students, last call for pickup before they get picked up by the truck. Thank you.
Okay, so the smallest variable is this 1x, but we need it to be opposite. It's lined up with this 2x. That's positive, so we need this to be a -2x. So we're going to multiply everything by a -2. All right, so when you do that, to each term, we get now negative 2x, now positive 4y equals now positive 6. So basically, I'm just going to bring the original equation back down so I can see that they're lined up. There's now my x's lined up. There's my y's lined up. There's my constants. And hopefully you see now the x's can cancel. So when you add everything else up, because you're canceling by adding, you're left with now just a positive 1y equals a positive 1. And that's our y. So to get the x, we just have to go back to the very beginning and plug it back in there. So x equals 2 times 1 minus 3, which is going to give me a negative 1. So our solution is negative 1, comma 1. Okay. All right, so that takes care of elimination. Our next tab is going to be the word problems, I believe, which is one of the big chunks of part 2. Does anyone study this? Okay. Okay, this was 79 total. Plus 7. 8, that was Jonah, yeah. Plus 6 plus 5 plus 5. And then plus 8. How many do we have in here? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8.
I don't even know why I vote for that.
Who's absent? Oh, Jacob's outside. Okay. Okay. Damn. So 8.6. All right. All right, let's do this first one and then we'll talk about the mix and review. Guys, so break it down a sentence at a time. In the first sentence, the key information is that they give a test that's worth 90 points and it has 25 questions. So I'm underlining the 90 points and the 25 questions. Come on. Okay, I'm not going to be able to do that all day. All right. The second sentence is we have multiple choice questions worth 3 points and word problems worth 4 points. Okay. How many of each type of questions are there? So if I'm talking about worth points, I'm going to let X be our represent 3 points and Y represent the 4-point question. So to have a total of 90 points, this would be 3x plus 4y equals 90. And then you have a total of 25 questions, so there's different types of questions, so this would be x plus y equals 25.
And I'm still reminding you, looking this out to a 4-letter word.
All right, so you're gonna have to get opposites here. I would go ahead and just multiply the bottom one by negative 3.
I'm sorry.
So where's the answer? Come on, there you go. So this will become negative 3x minus 3y equals negative 75. So if you now see that our our x's are opposites, and you can cancel them out. Oops. You see, I can cancel those out by adding them. And when I do that, you're left with y equals 15.
Why do you keep the blank numbers for the top one?
What I did what?
You.
Oh, because it told me I have a multiple choice test that are worth different values.
Yeah.
So I knew if my x is my 3-point question and I have a total of 90 points,
Oh,
I did 3 times x, yeah, to be 3x, and then,
that makes sense.
yeah. And since I know there's a total of 25 questions, if y is 15, then the x has to be 10 to add up to be 25. All right, so let's go ahead and just stop here, and we'll finish the rest tomorrow.